Hello, welcome to our day 3 of learning Golang. And today's episode, you're going to look at our first project. And in this project, we're going to learn a lot of concepts, starting from setting up a front-end Next.js application and also a Golang API. And in the Golang API, we're not using any framework. We're using Golang standard package, and we're using also the SQLite for our database. We are going to look at different packages, how to configure them, things like hot reloading, things like generating IDs. We are going to look at SQLite, how to set it up. There was a lot of errors and things how I configured them. And this video is really with a lot of concepts. So at the end of the day, to show you what we built here, we have the front end, a simple front end, a contact manager here, where you can go ahead and add in a new contact. So let me just go ahead and add in. Let me first refresh. I'm just going to go here and I will add in a new contact. Let me just say to see me Gerard. I'm just going to here and say Gerard at gmail.com, and then we can just add this phone number here, and just go ahead and add the contact. So you can see the contact added successfully. If I refresh, you can see that the Gerard is here. Okay, and even if I refresh, you see that this data persists and it is coming from the API. So if you look at our API, so we have our API and our database is a SQLite. If you go here, you can actually look at all the data that is in this. I don't know if I can refresh this. So this is our database basically here. I don't know how I can refresh this. Yeah, so you can see this is our database and it has all these details as you're seeing them here, is the way we have them here. And we have set up things like we have set up, if you look at this, we set up things like cores, allowing cores to allow this localhost resolver to consume our API. And we also have the server. And if you check on the terminal here, we also have this running here. You can see this is the incoming data that we are consoling. And if I add in a new thing here, you said the server is actually, so if I save, you said the server is actually running on its own. We have hot loading by compile daemon. So this is what we learned in today's video. It was a lot of learning and I hope you find it very useful. So let's just dive in and get started. Hello everyone, welcome to our day 3 of learning Golang. And today's video, we're just going to do our first simple project where we're going to do a CRUD API, and on the front end we're going to consume it using Next.js, and on the back end we're going to build it using Golang plus the SQLite database. And we're not using any we're not using any right now any framework of Go because I still want us to practice the basics and try to get it rough with Golang. Later on, when we're doing really big projects, we're going to go into microservices and also looking at some of the frameworks like Gin. But for now, we are still learning, and I think the more you write this CRUD code, the more you learn more stuff. Okay, so just going to do a simple contact management app where we're going to have like a simple API with name, email, and phone number. So we send this data on the front end, and then we receive it at the back end, and then at the back end we save this data. We save it in we go ahead and save it in the SQLite database. Okay, so let's just get started. I'm just going to go to my folder. Let me go here, YouTube builds. I'm just going to go learning Golang, YouTube workspace, and today is day 3. So I'm just going to go ahead and add here day 3. And in this day 3, maybe I just say day 3. And in day 3, we are doing our contact app. Okay. So inside here, I'm just going to have 2 things. So I just go ahead and open this in here. So just going to have the contact app front end and the contact app API. So I can just open here the terminal. Okay. And I can just have, for example, npm. So let's first start with the front end because it's going to be easy. npm create next app at latest, and just going to call this contact app, and this is going to be front. So since we're just already in the contact app, maybe I just say okay, just say contact app front, just like this. Maybe should I just like I've named it like okay, so this is Next.js 16. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to use Next.js 16, but since we are here, let's just go with 16. This is going to be the first time using it. Let's go with the defaults. So the defaults is it adds in like the TypeScript, React, Tailwind, and ESLint. Okay. So as it is setting this up, so this is going to be our front. I'm just going to create another folder here, which is going to be contact app API, contact app API, just like this. So we have the front and we have the API. I'm just going to go ahead and also so I can just go open a new terminal, and let's go ahead and cd into contact app API. So inside this, I'm just going to actually say go mode supposed to be go mode what? Is go mode init? How do I forget this? And just say GitHub github.com/ just going to say mokcoder / so I'm just going to say for now contact app API, just like this. Okay, let me just see go mode. I think it is go mode in it, right? Go mode, yeah, so it is just go mode in it. Go mode init github.com contact app API, and let's go into and create this. So since we are into this folder, so if you just go inside the API, you see you have go.mod. I'm just also going to say touch. I'm just going to say touch. I'm just going to say main.go, just like this. And this is going to create our main .go file. Now we can just go ahead and open this code. dot. I'm just going to open this in another window. I'm just going to go here. So let me just go inside the package. So I'm just going to say package main. So this is going to be package main. And let's just come here and say func. And just going to say main. And let's go and say fmt dot print print line, just hello world, just like this. Okay, just going to go ahead and save this. This is just getting the code action for go. Okay, so I'm just going to go and run go run. So you can just go here and just say go. Main dot go, like this. And today we're just going to look at hot reloading using the compile domain. So I've set up my project. I have the contact app API this side, and another side I just want to go ahead and set up a Next.js project. Let me first scroll some of these things here. So let's just go ahead and cd in the front. So if you just go into this one, I'm very sure this is done now. Okay, so let's just go cd and just go and say okay, for this one we can just say code dot minus r, just to open okay, yes, cd into the contact front and just say code dot minus r. Okay, so this is going to be our Next.js app. So if you check the package.json, this one should be Next.js 16. Yep. So yeah, just on Next.js 16, guys, and just going to say p npm dev. This will just go ahead and run on our local host 3000. So I'm just going to go to here and let's run the localhost 3000. Okay. Yep. So you can say to get started, edit the page.this and templates, and then like learning center, documentation. So this is the home page. So I'm just going to quickly add shard and a few things. So let's just go here. We don't have much time. I'm just going to go in here. Let's first actually add shard cn. Just going to stop the server here. I'm just going to say pnpm drx shard cn at latest, and then just say init init, just like this. Okay, I'm just going to go with any of these ones. I can just go with slate. Okay, so I will just add in some few dependencies we are going to use, like a few components. So you can just go ahead and clear this. So let's go ahead and create the page. Let's go ahead and create the page. So I'm just going to quickly go to simple UI. So you can just go to React. Those who don't know simple UI, I'm just going to leave the link below. You can go to simple UI and just want to scroll down to the last where we have completed pages, and you go to the invoice pages. There is a simple contact manager here. Just simply go to code, get this, and let's go to components. I'm just going to go here to components, create components just like this. Inside the components, let's create our contact app.tsx, like so. So let's just scroll up and look at the dependencies that we need to add in here. Just save it, and then I'm just going to go in the app here, and I will just say RFC. Inside here, I'm just going to simply add the contact app. So just going to say contact app, just like this. Let's go to the contact app and add in all these components. I'm just going to start with the shared ones. P npm dirx shared cn at latest. I'm just going to say add. So let's start with the the button, and then we have the input, then we have the label, and I think going downwards we have the dialog, just like this. Then we have the table, and then lastly we have the form. And I'm just going to add also the sonar. Okay, just going to add the sonar just like that. For toasters. So this is going to go ahead and install all the dependencies that we need. Most of them. The remaining ones, we're just going to add them in a second. I'll just go in the layout, and I'm just going to set up the toasters. So in here, I'm just going to say here toaster. And this comes from Sonar, like this. And I'm just going to say only rich colors, just like this. Go back here. We have only one error for now, which is also, I think, date.now is an impure function. Going impure can produce an unstable that. So this is, I think, from React 19 now. Okay. Anyways, this doesn't matter. We can just like put any string here. We can just like put any string, like, you know, 1 2 3. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, this is going to be dummy. So now let's run our app. We don't have any errors now. P npm dev. They said now they made this, it is more faster. Let's go to the localhost now, 3000. Okay, so we have the contact app. It has the form. Okay, so what we just really want is we get this data and we send it to an endpoint. So if I just go back to this, so let's just understand the app. So basically the app has the form and it has also the pop-up model. So we have the header, and then we have the table, as simple as that. And then we have the dialog for edit and for view. So we have the view dialog, we have the edit dialog, the contact table, and we have also the header, which has the trigger for add. Okay. So with that, what I'm interested in is now this add trigger. So when you say add, you can see it creates this handle add, and this opens the first dialog. This set dialog is open, and when that dialog is open, we go ahead to this add edit dialog. So this is the one, is dialog open. When it is open, then we see this, and we are just checking if there is editing contact, it is edit, or it is just new. So here we just have the normal form here, and then it is calling the handle submit. And in the handle submit, we have either we are editing all we are doing. So what you are interested in is actually within here. Okay, this is what you are interested in at this point here. So I need to make sure that the data that I have, I can actually just get it. The new contact is going to be is just equal to the data. I think I can just say, so right now this contact has a name, and then it extends, so the contact extends and it has this ID. Just going to leave it. We don't need to send it. If one, you can generate the ID from the front end, but I think I want the ID to be generated from the back end. That's what is common in most cases. So if I just go back to the submit here, so the data I just expect to see it here. So I can just even first leave this. This is just the front end way of adding things. So if you just go ahead and you fill in here, phone number must be less than 15 digits. You can just add any number here, like so, and let's add. So you can see we have like this here, and then we have the view, and then we have the edit, okay, and then we have the delete. So that's how the apps are supposed to work at the end of the day. Right now it is working everything on the front end. For example, is adding the contact using this set contacts here. So I'm just going to, of course, remove this, and we will send the data to the API. So for example, we can just get this data, and we first actually console.log it. So like new contact, and what I can just actually send, I can just send the actual data. So let me just console.log data. So let's open the console and click on this add. Let's clear the console of everything and click on add, and you can see we have an object which has name, email name, and phone number. This is exactly what we need to send on the back end. So we're just going to have our backend running on port 880. So I can quickly send this data to the backend using, so you can say const, and you say response is equal to await fetch, and then you're just going to put in our, our endpoint. So we could just like go ahead and we create our env here just quickly for now to make sure everything is okay. Just going to say .env, and I'm just going to say next public, next public. I'm just going to call this one API URL, and this is going to be equal to HTTP local southern 880. So they just like copy like this. Okay. HTTP localhost 8,880, just like this. This is what we want to be this our, and then I'm just going to go to app here, and you can just get our base. So you just say const, and you can just say our base, or I just say maybe base API URL is going to equal to process. So you say process dot env dot next public, like this. So if you hover here, and you can just say, just leave it like this. So I'm just going to use this, and I'm just going to say res await fetch, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this is going to be dollar base, and let's say slash. So for now, if you wanted to could just say API, but you say, for example, right now slash this is going to be contacts slash contacts, just like this. And then here I'm just going to say just going to make this function an async one. So here it's going to come and just say async just like this. And down here, we're just going to say comma, and let's put the options. First one is method is going to be post, and the second one is going to be headers. Let's say the headers, and in the headers we are interested in content type, so I'm just going to say here content type, which is going to be application JSON, just like this. And finally, just going to send it as body, so you can just say body, and it's going to be JSON dot stringify and just going to stringify the data. Okay, so this is the response. So if I just go ahead and now console the response, you will see that this, if I execute this now, if I just go back and I try to actually execute this, okay, if I don't execute this, it will give back like a 404, right? So you can see an account, and this is not even connected. Like this post doesn't even exist, right? We don't have this endpoint existing anywhere. So let's go back to our backend. So the front end is running right now, waiting for on our backend. So we're just going to use some couple of packages from Golang side. So on the backend, let me bring this here. Just going to look at a couple of packages. One is going to be for routing. So routing, just going to use Gorilla Max. And yeah, so this is going to work on routing, creating routes, and also extracting like params and everything. Then another one, we're just going to use let's say for hot reloading, we're going to use compile daemon. So this is going to be let me enter into this one. So just going to say hot reloading. We're just going to use compile daemon, and then for this is reloading, and then we have for generating IDs, we'll use Google. Just going to go use Google UUID, and then for SQL, for SQLite, we're just going to use I think they call it modern RC package. There is another one, I think by there's another one by who I think I've forgotten it. I will show you just in a second. But basically, we're just going to use some of these packages. Let's start with hot reloading, because I think it will be the easy one to set up. So hot reloading is, you see right now the app, whenever we make changes, we have to go ahead and run the app. But this, you don't need to do that. So we're just going to say go. I'm just going to go in here, and I will just say go compile daemon, and you can just simply go to their GitHub, just like this. And I'm just going to say, so you can just go ahead and install it. And also, so there's a difference between packages for installing and packages for, so you're going to say, when we say go get, so this go get, this is when you want to use in development, like in code, you want to use it in code for development. But then we have go install. So this one, it means you're going to run it as you just want to run it on the CLI. So you're going to see some packages you run those two, others you run only one. So if you look at this, they just actually say you have to go ahead and install it, right? So we can just go ahead and install this. I'm also going to go and get, because if you go back here and you go to this, I'm very sure here they tell you, if you click on installation, you see they give you go get. Okay, they give you go get. So just going to actually run both of them. You can just go ahead and say to the terminal, let's go ahead and run this go install. So if you see, we have go install, github.com, github nemo, and then you compile them on. Then the other one is simply the opposite, which is go get. So they just like the same. So I'm just going to go ahead and install this. Okay, so it has installed. I'm just also going to say go get, so you can just come here. Instead of install, I'm just going to say get, just like this. And we have added it also in our project. And you can see now we have go sum, which keeps track of which packages you installed and their versions. Okay, so that's good. So how do we use it now? So to use this, and you can also create a file here for writing our notes, like .md. I always just write this, like when you just like as you're following the video, you can open up the notes and then you keep on taking your notes as because you are learning. So the new commands and everything you are learning, you add it there. So let's set up this the compile daemon. I'm just going to say clear this. I'm just going to say now, so just use compile. So you can say compile daemon. Okay, and then the only one you just want is command, and then is equal, and then you put the name of the project. If you don't remember, you can just check in the Go mode. This is the name, contact app API, just like this. Okay, so I'm just going to say now normally just add like a dot slash. I don't know if you don't add it, if it is okay, but I just want to just like command and then dot slash, then the name of the project here, and then just simply run. So this is going to go ahead and now run the build, and you can see it is building, and it also compiles the app because it is actually building it. So the good thing with this now, if I just go back in the main, let's add another here, and I'm just going to add this as compiled success, like this, and save. So if you save, you see that it is actually running, and now it has hello world and compiled success. So that's how you set up the compile daemon. The most important thing on the compile daemon, just like this, you need just to know how to install it. So you just talked about installing, where you just run both the go get and go install the daemon. And then we talked about the command that you need to run, which is just like you put this. You can find this actually on their GitHub. That's why normally just like always want to go here. You can see compile daemon -command and then the name of your program, with even other options that you can actually do. So that is the simple setting up the daemon. Let's go next, the next package here. So the next one we want to add right now is going to be Gorilla Max for routing. Okay, so this one is going to be used for routing. So you can just go here and this and say go Gorilla Max, like this, and we can just go to the also GitHub. And if you just go down here, they say the Golang Max implements a request router and a dispatcher for matching incoming requests to their respective handlers. So it is just like for routing purposes, just like the way you see a router. So you can just go ahead and install this, copy the command, and let's go down here and install it. So I'm just going to go here, and you can just go ahead and go get, and you just have add it like that. So how do we create a router? So if I just go down here, I can just say router R is going to be equal to, and this is going to be max. Okay, so you can just import max dot new. I think supposed to be max dot new router, something like this. I don't know why it is loading. Yeah, so it's just like new router like this. So this creates a router. So here we create the create the router, and let's use the router. So let's use the router to create routes. So let's say we wanted to create a home page, a contacts router. So to create a router, you can just come here and we say, for example, we can just create a new router using this router we created here. So we can just say so you can just say r dot, and here just going to handle func, this one. And in here, if you just look at this handle func, it takes in two things: the path, which is the route, and then the function, which actually takes in the response and the request. So just like the way we do it in Express. So here we're just going to put in the path, for example, slash contacts. So this is the one that we want. And then here we're just going to put in the function or the handlers. You can call them handlers. You can just call them controllers. In this case, I'm just going to use controllers. So let me just say create a folder for controllers, and then just going inside here, I'm just going to write controllers.go, and let's say package controllers. And down here, let's create our first controller. For example, let's say create. Since we created the create, so you can just say func, and let's say create contact, just like this. Okay. Now this, it must be having the request. So just going to say it should have a response writer, which is going to be type of HTTP dot response writer, like this. And then you put comma, let's put the request. So just say request, which is of type star. This is going to be HTTP dot, I think, request, just like this. So you have access to these two things, the response and the request. The only thing you have to just understand is their types. We get this from the HTTP net. This is the standard package, and this is the request, the request and response. The request is where we get the data, and the response is where we send or reply to our client. So of course we need to receive the data, manipulate the data, save the data to the DB, and then respond to the front, just like this. These are the steps we need. We need to receive the data, if I can write the word receive. So you just need to receive the data, manipulate the data. So for example, here we can just like add the ID and everything. So just going to look at how to do that. So before you do that, I'm just going to go here in this, and I'm just going to say controllers. So you're just going to say controllers dot create contact, and it has accepted because the function is actually having the response and the request. And then here you can just say dot methods, and here just going to say that this is going to be a post like this. Okay, so down here we can actually also create the server. Okay, we can create the server, and to create the server there are two ways. Okay, we could just use the HTTP dot, I think there is listen and serve, and then here we could just like do this. Sorry, we could pass in the port, which is 880, and then here we pass in the R. There, this could be enough. Like this, it would be listening on port 880. But there is a comprehensive way of doing this. Just going to say allow. So there is a comprehensive way of doing this. Why we just actually create the server. So you can just say server is equal to so of course is equal to we could just use what do we use? We could just use this HTTP I think it was HTTP dot server. Just say dot server like this, and inside here you can pass in two things. You can pass in the handler, and the handler is going to be this this one, the one we created, the router. And you can also pass in the address, and in this case is going to be the 8 is going to be the port, the 880. So here I'm just going to go ahead and pass in 880 like this. And now after creating the server, we can just say log dot fatal, and in here we can just say I think supposed to be HTTP dot listen and serve, and then we pass in the server like this. I'm not sure, I myself just like log is HTTP listen listen and serve, and we pass in the server. There is something of maybe it is actually server, okay, dot listen and serve like this. Okay, so we can just use the server that we just created, and then we just do this. And if it goes successful, so when you do this, I think below the server here we can just say fmt. So here server running, so we could just say HTTP, sorry, we just say fmt dot print line, and you can just say server running on port 880, just like this. Okay, so now since we have a compile daemon, this is going to keep on compiling. So if you just scroll down, restarting, so you can see it saying server running on port 880. So if we want to know that the server is running, we're just going to go to our controller, create contact, and now we don't need to receive the data, but we can just like do something. I'm just going to say, for example, fmt dot print I'm just going to say receiving. I'm just going to say here receiving requests from the front end, just like this. So if we look at this, and it prints out this, it will mean that this is working. Okay, it will mean that this is working. We just go to the front end, which is this app. Let's go ahead and clear this and let's send. So I'm just going to first reload for now, and let's go ahead and use fake filler. And I'm just going to come here. Okay, so it is saying here, you can see access to fetch at this from the origin has been blocked by core. It means something is actually working, because you can see it has been blocked by core policy. This means for at least something is working. Now, I don't think like it has responded because the fact that it was blocked by the core policy. So how do we actually, because this is actually the first time to actually add this to the front end. The last time when I was practicing this, I was using the API client, but right now since we're using Next.js, we need to see how do you enable the, so you can just come here and I say, I'm just going to put here go allow core. Maybe I don't know that does this has to do something like what you're using for this is routing. Okay, I'm just going to say go cores. Cores. Okay. Enable cores in Golang. Like this is something I didn't actually just even think about, the core policy. But since we are all here, we can actually look at them. So you can see here it's saying enable cores in Golang, func user login, and is using this response. We can set header, and then we set this the origin, set access control allow methods. This, I don't know, the origin, does this allow everything? I don't know if how we can set it to allow everything. Okay, I think I'm just going to first see that. Go cause handler. Okay, just expand this. So there is another package. If you're using like Max, okay, and here is the function, say set content. Okay, so content type this. So cause default, set up the middleware with a default options, so allow accept. So you just need to actually set up like a sort of like a middleware. So so allow origins accepted with simple method get post. See the documentation. So in other words, you need to run, you need to install this RS cores. So the only thing you just do is you simply do only this. Okay. What is cause? Okay, just going to go here. We understand the cause. I just need to reach a point whereby we have, so you can say as a function enable cause, which is taking in the writer and is setting this, and you put start to allow everything. And so if also is calling it in every okay, so you just like call this. Okay, so just going to create a function. Just going to call create here, and I say middle. Let's call this middleware. We could even add this in the controllers, but this is going to be more in the middleware. So you could just say middleware, and let's create, for example, middleware.go, and let's say package middleware, and let's say let's add this func. I'm just going to call this enable cause. I'm making it capital so that you can just use it in other places. So this is W, and you can see this gets it from the HTTP. I'm just going to get HTTP, and it is setting this, which is very okay. This is how you set using the HTTP. This is how you set the headers. Okay, so you can set the headers like this. And now that means if we go to any of our controllers, we could first enable this. But I think I'm not sure if you can intercept like in between here, and you say, for example, controllers. Okay, like for example, if you say middleware, like normal like you just normally have like this middleware in between, but let me just like do this simple one, not complicated. So I first come here and I enable, like I say, middleware dot enable cores, just like this. Oh, maybe just pass in this response, just like this. Okay, let's just do that again, see if anything has changed. Go back, and I'm just going to again, do this. Okay, so this time we still have it says no access control origin header is present on the requested that means like this is not reaching. So what we could just say, if I'm using max, how do I say that? Because you can see it is done here, but max go, I'm just going to say go max cores, just like that. So we have the we even have Goida handlers, and then we have Goida max, and then we have func. This is new controllers dot account controllers. So okay, we have the router here, so new router, and we have router dot this method here, and okay, Okay, you can see. So we have log.http listen and serve, and we have now this. We can pass in something like this. And where are we getting handlers? From the Gorilla handlers. Is there anyone who is like this was a solution, or where's the problem? So you say I have fairly simple setup as desired, the code below. I'm not able to get the cores to work. I'm getting this error here. Response verifier doesn't pass the control check. No access origin is present. I'm sure I'm missing something simple. So he has this setup, which is actually different from ours. So in the answer, say please read the link marker suggested. So if you just go in here, it says Goida's handle.cores will set send defaults to get the best cores working for you. However, you can add, maybe you should take control in more functional manner. So here are some starter code. So it says handlers okay, and then this origin allowed, and blah blah the methods. So he used this kind of thing, just some bookkeeping. Okay, so he's saying here, requested that when performing a non-standard operation, e.g. put, you'd want to make your cause handlers allow content type as well as header.ok requested with and the contact type. So this is the most the most supported answer is this here. Let's first try this, see if ours work or not. So I'm just going to, because first I had not used this, so you can also just first check on the Gorilla handlers. So if we just go to the Gorilla handlers, just want to read. Package handler is a collection of handlers, aka HTTP middleware, for use in Go HTTP package. Okay, so it basically has a lot of stuff. Okay, so you can create new server max. We have this here. So it's creates a router, and then you can create the routes like this. So if you look at this in between, this must be the what? This is the middleware. Wrap our serve with our handler to zip compress all responses. So you can do handler dot compressed R. I'm not sure if so you say wrap our serve with our gzipped handler to gzip compress all responses. I don't know what that means. I say other handlers are documented in the website. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and add this. The only problem I have is that I'm not seeing the installation if you are supposed to like go ahead and logging, compressed, proxy. I'm just going to first go ahead and see if I put Gorilla handlers. So if we just go to Gorilla handlers and we look at the package documentation expand, so you can see method handlers and everything here. They don't even suggest to be like they are installing it anywhere. But I just use the same concept. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. I'm just going to go here, and in a new terminal, I'm just going to say go get, and just going to add this. And now I'm just going to go ahead and change. So if you look at now, they're using, I'm not sure if they're now using the handle thing. Remember we used to have the handle func, but yeah, they're using just handle, and they are passing even the middleware and everything. Oh, they actually have it here. They have the handle, and then they have this handle func. I don't know what's the difference, but there is also for this guy what he mentioned here, which looks like the one we are familiar with. So I can just come and I use this instead. So you can just go back here. No, so this is not going to, I'm just going to go here where we have create server. Just going to go ahead and stop this. And then I'm just going also to stop this. And then let's add this. So we just need basically to get the handlers. And then this is the router. So this is our router, the R. Okay, so let's just pass in the R, just like this. So I'm just going to save. Of course, if you hit this from a normal API, it will work. Let's make sure that everything is still working here. First of all, let's make sure that the port is what we want. The port is going to be this 880. Okay, the port should be 880. So you're saying here it may have already existed, restarting the command. So server running on port 880. So the server should be running. What I wanted to say is if we go ahead and test this from this normal API, let me just go ahead and get this. First, let me first copy this. I'm just going to go ahead and create another. Sorry. I wanted to create another request, and I want to call this another collection. I'm just going to say contact API, contact app API, just like this. Let's create the first one. Just going to paste this, and it's going to be post request. I'm just going to rename this to create. So rename. Just going to call this create contact. You can always use Postman. So I'm just going to go to the body here, and even if I don't send anything, I simply just like send slash. Let's say slash contacts, just like this. So you can see this returns 200. Okay, and if you just go back here, you should see this receiving request from the front end. So that is from if you do it from this client. Let's go ahead and try to actually send this also from our app. Let me refresh one more time. Click here, add this, send. So if you just go back here, you see that it doesn't seem to have any requests. So what I'm just going to do, oh, actually we did not. Here it says handler.cores. So that is what the other, I think the other guys did. Let me just go back here. So this is what this guy did. And what they advised him to do, if you look at the solution, they did this. Okay, they did this. So they came here, and we can just like do this. And then they also changed this. Listen to OS. Okay, we can just add that later. So you say handle cores, and inside here they passed in all these things, and cause. So the method is dot okay. This is the first one, and then the router here. Copy this. Let's go, and while we have this, okay, so they have this. Okay, they have added these, and I think for the one that we want is this origin is okay. Okay, so here is saying they are getting them from OS. I don't think for us we need to get them, because when you say os.getEnv, it means you have this set there, origin allowed. In this case, I'm just going to, what am I going to pass? So if you look at it, is a string of array, so I'm just going to do this. So in here, I'm just going to pass in a string, which is going to be a star. Or we could just say put a star. Even I'm just going to go here and I pass in this very localhost 3000, because this is the origin. Sorry, the localhost 3000. You can just come here, pass in the 3000 here, like this. So like these are the origins, right? Do we have anywhere OS? I don't think we have anywhere now OS. Okay, so we just have this running. Let's go ahead and keep on trying until we have this working. In the meanwhile, I think this is just also like learning a lot. I would just cut this out and just like figure it out, but I just want like we all figure it out together. So we still have from this has been blocked by this, don't have pass, no access. Okay, so we still have this problem. Let me just for a second. Okay, so I paused for a second and I went back to this. So you can see by the way it has now worked. The response is giving 200, okay, true. So what I have done different is I just gone back to this, if you remember this, where we got these first methods here. In this, the starter code, you can see there is one more comment here from this guy. So you can see this new cause project. So if you look at, so this one is using the, I have not used this one. This one is using the standard package. So you can say also try this handler, the go cause handler, which should solve your issue. I find this much cleaner and easier to resolve the issue. So there is this one. We're just also going to try this. But with this one, if you read here, it says that sufficing along the content type request header when performing a non-standard operation like put, you remake the cause header allow this as well. So what was missing was this header. So if you just go in this allowed headers, we only had the request with. So I've added this content type and authorization. This one is going to, if it is used when you have like JWT1 to do authentication. And then the origins, I've just only removed the star and added the one I want. I guess even if you add the star, will work. And then here in the allowed, I've also added the delete. So I have get, head, post, put, options, and delete. And everything has remained exactly the way it's supposed to. So now if you just go back to the form and let's add like this. So you can see now it works, right? So another thing that we just need to do, so like this one was trying to say that you can also try the handler package, the one that we saw their site, this one. Okay. So there is this one, which is also, I think, good. Thanks, using GitHub was easiest and works. So you can see if we add this this package, and you can just go ahead and add this. I'm just like trying to get like more solution. Of course, the problem has been solved, but let's just like see if we get it working using this. So go get, and then we add this. And then for it, you simply need just create these course.new, and then you pass in the allowed origins, allow all credentials true, and then you create the handler using c.handler. You actually still need the Golang handlers. So let's just go ahead and see, create this. Okay, so that means like from here, let me just go ahead and do that, and let's paste this. So we get course. Okay, then this is now the front end, allowed origins. Let's put the front end localhost 3000, and then we can just go ahead and do this handle. So we just create a handler. So the handler like this, it uses now the c.handler, and we pass in the router that we created on top there. And then after getting this handler is what we use. So instead of using this one, we can now use this. Here there's one missing, so this is going to be 880 like this. Okay, so let's just go and see if this, because this is actually much cleaner, I guess. So if I just go back, let's refresh, let's try send. So this works. Okay, very much cleaner than this. And let's clean up to remain with a more understanding code now. So remove this, so you can just go ahead and use this. We get the course. So, and after just like allowing the cores, and then we use this in the handler, and then we use this handler to create the server. Nice. So let's go back now. That was really distracting. Let's go back to this. Now I can remove this middleware thing. Then I can go ahead and remove this middleware for now folder, because we don't need it for now. Okay, so the question is, how do we receive the data? So the first thing, since now we know the request is working, the first thing is to actually create something which can receive this data. So we just need these three things: name, email, and phone number. So I'm just going to go here in this handler, create contact. Let me just go here and create a struct. So I'm just going to say type. I'm just going to say this is going to be a contact struct, and this is going to have the name, email, phone. Let's just add actually one more thing, which is going to be the ID, just like this. You can just do it this, or we can just do like this, and it can work. So we just have to do this. We're just going to say that the ID is going to be a string, and we just add this in JSON. This is going to be ID, just like this. And then you say the name is going to be also string in JSON. This is going to come as a name, just like this. And just say here is going to be a string in JSON. So you can just say in JSON is going to come when it is email. Finally, just going to say string, and you just say in JSON this is going to come as phone, just like that. So we have created our struct. So if we wanted to create a new contact here, I can say var contact is going to equal to so you can just say var contact, and we just say this is our type contact, just like this. Now this creates an empty variable. So what we need is to receive data and populate it in this variable. So remember, so in the first step we need to get the data. The data we receive is in the JSON format. So we receive JSON. So what we need to do is convert JSON to struct, and this is our struct. This variable here is of type contact, which is the type that we have here, this one. So what we need is to convert this, and to do that, to convert JSON to struct, we have two methods, the new ones. Remember, we previously we saw the mashal and anamashal. But when you're just like dealing with API, normally we're just going to use now the decoder. So when you want to convert JSON to struct, normally this is when you are dealing with the receiving data from the API, receiving data from client. Normally data comes in the JSON format, and this is why we need first convert data into the struct. So in this case we use the JSON dot new, and this is going to be decoder. Okay, so this decoder is used to convert to struct. You're going to see this goes with the code. Okay, this goes with the code, and then if you want to convert, let's bring this here. So if you want to convert struct to JSON, okay, struct to JSON, I'm just going to JSON. This is when you are sending data from the API to client. Okay, we are sending data to, let's say here we send data to client. So we save it in JSON. So here we use JSON dot encode new encoder, just like this. So we have these two methods, and how they work, let's see how they work. So we just come here and we say JSON, and JSON is going to come from the JSON encoding dot new. So you can see we have two methods, the decoder this converts to struct, and the encoder, this converts to JSON. So right now we have JSON, which is coming from the request. So just going to say this. And what are we decoding? We are decoding the request. We are decoding the request.body. So the data comes in the request.body. And then we say dot decode. Okay, so what are we actually? So it can decode and populate. So here I want to populate this in this contact. So to be able to pass in this contact, we're just going to go ahead and pass in and then we pass in our contact like this. So what it means is that it's going to go in the contact and populate in the name, email, and the phone. Since we said in the JSON, the name comes as a name, so it will populate in the name. We said the email will come as email, small email. The phone will come as small phone, and it will populate this inside here. So you need to make sure that your JSON that you are sending is matching this format. So to confirm that, we can actually console.log, so we can say receiving request from this, and then we can just also go here. Okay, we can just also go here and console.log the contact. So at this point it must be populated, right? So just go to the front end and let's fill in this. Let's send. So if you go back this side, let's go to the compile daemon. Yeah, so you can see that our data is here. We have this, the name, we have the email, and the phone number. So this data reached actually very nicely from our front end. So the next thing is we need to add in the data. This is why we do the manipulation. We need to add in the ID. So we're just going to use Google UUID. So you can say Google UUID, something like this. So this is the package. And you can scroll down. Let's install this package here. Just go here and let's install this. Like so. Okay, so it has installed. So I can just go here and check. Or we can just check if, okay, if, for example, if contact.id is equal to empty, because you might find we have generated the ID from the front end. So if it is from the front end, then now we can just say contact.id is equal to, so just going to use the UUID dot new string, new string like this. So this will generate the ID. So if we go ahead and now print out the contact, it is going to have added the ID. So if we just go back here, let's send. Just go back and let's send this. So if you go back to the terminal now, the one of compile daemon. So you see that now we have the ID. Okay, so the ID has been generated and it has been added to this. The next thing is actually save data to the DB. So we need to set up the database. And in that case, for database, we're using SQLite. Okay, and SQLite, if you just say go SQLite, you have a couple of packages. We have this modern RC, what we are going to use, but you have this one, the one from Martin, this Martin Go SQLite. Now this one, it has a lot of setup and workarounds because of being it is using C++. It is a C++ package, and they clearly talk about it here in the documentation that the Go SQLite is a C Go package. And the C Go package, it means it is a wrapper, it is a package built using C, but wrapped to run in Go. And you have to set up these and then set up the compiler and all that. So I didn't manage to use this, and I went ahead and used this one, the first one, this one here. So you can just go ahead and let's install this. Let's, if we can find the installation. I don't know if we can just say let me just try to see if I can find the modern RC, let's say GitHub. I think it is this one. Okay, so you just go ahead and install this. Just go ahead in this terminal, let's clear. Okay, let's just clear here and just going to say go get. So okay, this goes and installs it, and now we can just go ahead and start setting up. So I'm just going to have the place for setting up the database. So I'm just going to call this database. Let me create here a folder called database, and inside here I'm just going to say database.go, and I'm just going to say package database, and let's say create a function func, and it's going to be init db, just like this. Okay, so here just going to create, we just need to create if I can write the word create, a db, we want to create a db connection, connection to our SQL DB. Then we just like the second one, we just going to create a table, or we can just say call it a default table, the one that we want, and then default table. Is there anything else? Just going to create the default table. Those two things, I guess. So let's go ahead and create a connection. First, we're just going to need two things. I'm just going to initialize the DB. Just going to initialize, I think, DB, which is going to be of type SQL. So just going to say SQL dot DB, I think. I'm not sure. Is this supposed to be var or something? So just get this from SQL. I'm just going to say .db, just like this, and then we also going to create var error. I just say error, which is going to be of type error. Just these two variables, the error variable and the db, and we're just going to go ahead and use this db connection in all other files you're going. That's why I'm making it capital, so that we can export it to other places. So to create a connection here, I'm just going to say you will have the db and the error equaling to SQL.open, and in the first place we put the driver. So if you look at this, it takes in the driver name and data source. So for the driver name is going to be simply SQLite, and then in this, what is this? This is the data source. It's going to be a dot slash, and we're just going to call this contacts db. Just going to say contacts db dot db, just like this. So this one should give us, and now we can check for error. If if error is not equal to nil, then at this point we can just actually just log fatal, log.fatal, and just going to say error. And if everything is okay, we have the DB. Now at this point we can just go ahead and create a default table, because now this setup is going to be created. We don't have a way of going, and we're not using any migration tool. This is why we would use a migration tool, and Go has this migration tool called Goose. So we would use Goose for migration, and the purpose of migration is to sync tables, basically that, sync tables. But we're not going to use Goose in this case. We're not going to use Goose, but you could just use like the Goose, and it works with Postgres, with even SQLite. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a default table, and the first thing we just need is create a statement for creating a table. Let me just first say statement. So I'm just going to create a statement here. I'm just going to say SQL statement for creating a table is going to be, and we're just going to use this. Just going to say create table if not exists. So this create table, you could just say create without this exists, but this if exists means it will not create it if it already exists. It will only create it if it isn't existing, and because we're going to be using this initdb in many places. So it's a create table if not exists, and we put a table name which is going to be right now contacts, just like this, and then we can pass in the columns. Okay, so in the columns we're just going to have, for example, you can just say ID, and it's going to be text, and it's going to also a primary key, just like this. If you just want to run some SQL, I have this link. I'm just going to leave it also. This program, it's programize.com SQL online compiler. So if we just want to create a table, in here you find that there are 3 tables: customers, orders, and shipping. If I wanted to run, I can just say create. Let's create table if not exists, and then you just put the table name. I'm just going to say contacts, and we can now pass in the columns. Okay, so in the columns, let me just go down here. Okay, I'm just going to say ID is going to be of type text, and this is going to be also the primary key. So you can say primary key, just like this. Then we can have another one. Let me just say the another one is going to be, so we have the email. Let's just put them in this order: name, ID, name, and name is going to be text, not null. It means it's required. Another one is going to be email, which is also going to be email, not null. Type text, not null. Finally, we have the phone, which is also text, not null, just like this. So this is the SQL statement for creating this, and this is exactly what I'm just creating here. So I'm just going to copy them. So I'm just going to go here. So we have ID, text primary key, then I think we need to put comma, okay, and then put another one like name text not null. Then we have the email. So just going to come here, comma, and just say email no null, and then finally the phone and no null, just like this. So this is the SQL statement. You can just go ahead and execute it here. Create run SQL. Okay, the create syntax is here. Create. Oh, okay. Create. Okay, so you can see it has created a new table, which is where? It is here, the contacts table. ID, and it has added all these things. So that's what we want. Create table that. So you're just going to execute this. So to execute this, we can also get the error. So I'm just going to say underscore error is equal to, and we can just use our DB we have created dot execute, and in this we're just going to pass in the statement like this. So this should just be able to execute, and if there is error, you can just say if error not equal to nil, then you can just go ahead and log dot fatal, and you can just like pass in the error. So this one is going to be able to initialize our DB. Okay, this is going to initialize our DB, and we could just run it in the main, or we could just also just say init. I think there is another function that runs in Go code init, just like that. I think is it called, what's the spelling of init? It's supposed to be func. I think it's supposed to be func init, and then you can just call here the database dot init db like this. We can just actually search about this init function. So we can just say go init function. There is also another function that runs apart from you know, when does the init function run? You can see it's a question on Stack Overflow. But if you read on this, automatic execution init function are called automatically by the Go routine as part of the package installation process. They do not need to be explicitly called. No arguments, no return values, just the function init. So if you just go ahead and create this function init, this is going to go ahead and run by default wherever this main function called. So I think it's a good thing to call it there. Let's first see. We'll know if it has run or not. So if we save this and you just go back, let's see, we can also, I think it's good that when there is no any errors up to this point, it's supposed to be good that we add FMT of saying that DB connected successfully. Just going to say print, and just going to say DB connected successfully, like this. If it first run in the init, we're going to put just in the normal place. So if you just go ahead and save Let's go to the main function here. I'm just going to go ahead and save this. Excuse me. So if you just go scroll down, an unknown driver SQLite. Okay, so one thing that we forgot to actually do is on our database is to use the package, the RC package that we used. So I'm just going to go ahead and say this and put comma, and let's put our import statement here, which is going to be GitHub. I think github.com/ let's first go ahead and look at this, the package. I'm just going to say they call it Go SQLite. So the package is here. For some reason, the installation is not on this. But okay, this is it here. It is modernrc.org. Okay, just because this is not even hosted on GitHub, it is on the modern RC. And when you just do this, it means this is going to actually install behind the scene. You're not going to use it directly. We're using it indirectly because it's going to go ahead and so I'm just going to go ahead and add this. Like so, it is no comma actually. I was thinking it is a comma. So you simply actually just add it like that. This underscore signifies to Golang that this is going to be used indirectly. Like I know if you remove this, it's going to tell you that you are not using this package. But this package, when you add it, is going to run also the init function, and it will initialize everything. So we put this underscore so that we know that this is running in the background, even if we have not used it anywhere here. Okay, so we see that here we have this. And you can see we have actually DB connected successfully here. Okay, that means it actually ran. And if you check here, we actually have the contact DB. That means that the database was actually created here. Now, when you are not able to see this, you can just add in the SQLite viewer here. SQL. Make sure you have the two packages, the SQLite and SQLite viewer. So there is this SQLite, and then there's SQLite viewer. So I installed these two extensions, and that's why I'm able to view this, click in this and look at it. So we have our database. So basically at this point, we can perform the CRUD functionalities. So if I go back to the controller, we are at a point whereby we need to save data into the DB. So how do we save the data into the database? Okay, so we just know that we need to create an SQL statement and then we execute it. So I'm just going to go here. Let's create a SQL statement. So you can just go ahead and first statement. So we can just go here in the playground and test with it. So you can just go here in the test ground. Where is it? Playground here. And since we have this table now, the contact table, we can add stuff by let's say saying, so just going to say insert. Insert into, okay, insert into table, and we can just like put the name of the table, which is going to be in this case contacts, and then we can specify the columns here and then the values, values like this. Okay, so here we can just like pass in, for example, the ID name. So you can just say, I think just simply put them like this: name, email, and then the phone. And then for the values, let's say we put 001, and then we just put the name JB, and then you can just like put the email, which is going to be jb@gmail.com. Finally, you can put the phone number, which is like 62, just like this. Let's go ahead and execute this. The near table, insert into. Do we actually have to specify the keyword table? Yeah, so it is just insert into contacts. So you can see we have this. So we just need to go ahead and create this. Okay, so you can just go ahead and create this. There is another one which we might just use. So I'm just say here statement. So I'm just going to say stmt. Statement is going to be equal to, and let's add this. So then on the values, we can just go ahead and add these values. Now we just need to actually create a prepared statement. I'm just going to use a prepared statement instead. And a prepared statement avoids this SQL injection. So instead here, you could put question mark. Instead of putting the values direct like this, we could put a question mark. And even here, let's put a question mark. And then here, put a question mark. And then here, put a question mark. Like this. So in the prepare statement, just like insert this, and then you pass the columns. And then for the values, we don't pass them like this. So in executing, we could just say database. Let's say database.db. Okay. And then on this db, we can just actually save it here. Let me save it as db. Okay. And now this db, I can just say db dot. So here you can just say execute. And now in this execute, if we pass in this, we can now pass in also the values. Okay, we can pass in the values, which is going to be contact.id, and then contact.name, contact.email, and then contact.phone. Just like this. And this is what you call a prepared statement. You have the statement which is not having actually the values, and then you pass in the values later. This avoids what we call the SQL injection for the security purposes. Okay, so this should just be able to add, and let's go ahead and respond with the JSON. So to respond, and we also add the statement, so we can just say, first of all, let's set the, on the response, we just want to set the application JSON, that we are returning the JSON. We need to set the status to 201, and then we need just also to return the JSON data. So let's start with this one. To set the application, you need to set the whatever you are returning back is going to be in the application. So you can just say this is going to be on the response dot head or header, then dot set, and then we can say that this is going to be content the content type is going to be in the application/JSON. And then now here we can say this is going to be response for the status, and we can just say response.write. So this one use write header, and in this we simply pass in, let's say, http.status created, just like this. So if you hover on this, this creates the 201. And lastly, you can return JSON data. And the JSON data, remember, this is converting. This is basically converting the what are we converting? We are converting the struct to JSON. So we just need to use the JSON. So you can say JSON dot new, and you're just going to use encoder. And what are we encoding? In this case, I think it is you pass in the response, and then we are setting to encode, and we are encoding the contact because this is the struct. Okay. One more thing that we need to do is going to be this. When you execute this, it can return an error, so you can just actually just go ahead and have like var error somewhere. So you say here var error is of type error. So you could just come here and I say when we are executing this, something can go wrong. So I could just say that underscore comma error is equal to this, and then we can just like check if error is not equal to nil, and then you can just say log fatal. Let's pass error like so. So basically now this is the full endpoint. We do all these things here, and let's go now try to create. I'm just going to create this, and just going to put my name, and let's create. You can see, okay, so here it says post contact error connection refused, and let's first make sure that this everything is actually running on the compiled one. I think there's one thing that we need to do also. SQL logic table contact has no column named ID. Oh, okay. ID table contacts has no column named ID. If you go to our contact, we have our ID, name, email, phone number. So if you go in the controllers, so we are adding the ID here from here. Oh, okay, let's first see this on the exec. We supposed to use okay, contact.id, name, email, and phone. Why is it saying that it doesn't have SQL logic error? Table contacts has no. Okay, let's first see here. insert into contacts. Is this how you pass in the columns? ID, name, email, phone, without the quotes on it? Are we supposed to pass them like this? Let's see. Because this sounds like, let me just send again. Just check. What do you mean? So we have our ID, name, email, and this. I'm very sure there is some problem with our SQL statement here. I'm just going to say SQL insert statement. Okay, so insert into table name, then the values. So you could also pass in only the values. So insert into customers, and then you pass in the values according to the. So you can also syntax for inserting into specific columns, and you can just say insert table, and you have column 1 value 1, column 2 value 2, like that. So we need also to understand how we created our table. So if you just go to the database here, we created ID, name, email, phone. That's why we are also inserting in this similar way. So what I don't know is why is the problem with this statement. We can just in that case debug. Let me just open CRUD. I'm just going to say what's wrong with this. Okay. The issues with the quoted columns in your SQL statement. So we have create table. Oh, what have I pasted? Okay, I pasted I pasted the wrong one instead. I'm just going to go to edit this. The issue is the mismatch between your SQL syntax and the placeholder syntax. Okay, your code uses placeholder, but the column names are wrapped in the double quotes. Postgres style, this creates a conflict. Insert into contacts, and then we have the ID name, and then values. If using MySQL, we're using SQLite. So for SQLite, we have the name here. For values, we put this, and then here we have exec statement. Okay, so we are using the correct syntax. So if I just go back like this, you don't need to put anything on this. Just put question mark, comma, question mark, comma, question mark, comma. As simple as that in the values. And then we have statement, and then we pass this. The double quotes around the valid in Postgres, but not in most other cases. Still, even with this, that's why we have the error actually. So I'm just going to go ahead. For some reason, I don't understand why. I don't understand why it would has to. And here it says, if you go back this side, it says that the standard SQL logic table context has no column named ID. It has like this bracket 1. What do you mean, like? Because if you look at this, doesn't look like ID 1. Like just say this is the error we are getting here. I'm using SQLite. And I get this error. This could mean that one of these two things: the ID column doesn't exist in your table, or you're trying to manually insert the ID where it an auto increment primary key. If ID is an auto increment primary key, don't include it in the insert statement. I don't think that is the I don't think that's the problem. I don't think so. The only thing, by the way, we have also a documentation. So let me just go to our documentation, see if everything. I'm just going to go to blogs. I will also leave the link to this, the blog we used in this. I'll leave a link. Okay, so we're just going to go to blogs here, and we're just going to use this one, which has the employee. So if you just go down here, you're using I first used this in this project and it didn't work well. We're doing it practically, so you saw we used the the modern RC package. So a lot of things have changed. I will update this by the time maybe you watch this video. This would maybe already be updated accordingly, more especially this part for setup. The one I want to see is the part of this. So if you look at this, returns back db.exec, and we have insert into employees, and when we pass in this, and then we pass in the. So this is the SQL statement that we created, and then here we have. Then we pass in the ID, name, email, position. So you need to pass them according to the way they are here in the columns. Now, with that being said, I have no idea. Okay. I have no idea why the contacts, because if you look at this, we have our columns, ID, name, we have the ID, sorry, you have the ID, text, primary key, name, text not null, and all these other ones. So the confusing part is that we are sending this, this is the statement, insert into contacts, same as this, insert into employees. We can even add space, and then we have ID. So these are like the columns now, name, email, and then the same as the values. And then we, for the values, are using prepared statements, so we put this as a question mark, question mark, question mark, and question mark. So we have 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. We have 4 placeholders, same thing to this 1 2 3 4. So basically we have those 4. So at this point, I'm not sure why. And down here we have db.exec, which is like, I think, execute. And the is trying to have a hard time adding these values. I'm just going to try again. We still get the same, we still have the same issue. Table contact has no column. Okay, so if we remove the ID here, I'm just going to remove the ID, and let's remove the leave only the name and see. So if I send now, okay, so you can see now it says no column named name. So this it has nothing to do with this. Now it has to do with the, does this has something to do with the init? I'm not sure if this has something to do with the init function. I could also just like, let me first see if I comment this out. I'm just going to go ahead and call this one in here, and let's try to add it again. Okay, I'm just going to try to add one column list. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and let's go and copy this statement. So I'm just going to go to the we'll go to the controllers. Let me get this statement. Okay, I'm just going to get these two statements. Okay, we'll go back to the DB. So here, where we have this SQL statement. So after it has executed this, I just want to use this. So we have the statement, and then we have db, we have it, which is actually db. And then for these ones, okay, for these ones, I'm just going to go here and I say ID 001, contact name, say JB, email, say JB at gmail.com, and the phone number we're just going for 07625, like this. Okay, so if I save here, we should be able to run it again. And you can see it actually has this. So okay, if I just now use the prepaid statement, let me just go ahead, instead of doing this, let me just go copy this and I put it in the values, and let's only pass in this, the statement. Let's check if there is a problem in this. I'm just going to check here. Is there any problem? Let's see if there is any problem in our SQL. The incorrect column definition syntax. So you say you are wrapping the entire column definition in quotes. It should be create ID name. Okay, so this ID, then this, and then this, then this. Basically, we don't have the double quotes. Okay, so now this cannot run because we already have this table. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. So when I delete it and I save, it's going to go ahead and create it again because it will not be existing. Contacts, the text, name, email, and phone. So let's save, and you see that it's going to go ahead and create the contacts, and you can see now everything is good. So if you just come here, it has added in this 001. Okay, so that's good. I'm just going to go back here. I can just remove this second statement now. We don't need that second statement. I can just go ahead and remove this, and we remain with the one of creating the table, since it will only create it once. So if you go back in this should now be okay. Let's go to our front end, clear all this, finally run this, and it says 201. Okay, we can also get the response. Okay, we can just also get the response. So if I just go back to the controller here, so where we get errors, more especially like here, we can also return a response if we want. But now in this case, we are returning the data. So if I go in my Next.js project in the contact app, I can actually access that. So I can just say const result is equal to await which is going to be res.json. So we have the result which has actually the data. So this result is actually the data. So we can, for example, console.log the result, and we can also toast. For example, we can toast dot success, and we say contact created successfully, like that. So let me just go here. Let's get another contact. I'm just going to say here Brenda. Let's say email. I'm just going to say Brenda gmail.com 078 add. So contact created, and you can see now the data that we get back is the one that comes from the backend with now the ID. So let's just go ahead and do the fetch. That was really a lot of settings. Oh my god. Yeah, so finally we actually have it right. So you to go back in here, we receive the data and convert it into JSON. We just convert back into a struct from JSON. We populate the ID, and then we just go ahead and create. Okay, so for example, if you don't want to make duplicates and the email is unique, you could just go ahead and find and blah blah. But for now, I'm just like leave it here since we're just like learning the CRUD. So let's just go ahead and get all. Okay, so let's just say get contacts. I'm just going to duplicate this. Okay, so just going here get contacts. So in this case, we are not receiving anything. The only thing we just need to create here is going to be contacts, and this is going to be an array. Is that supposed to be like that? It's supposed to be like this. Is an array of contacts, and we don't need to decode anything. So I'm just going to remove this step and the step also of manipulating. So here I'm just going to say create a statement which is going to be select. So just say select star from contacts. So that's the statement, and we just come here and we execute the statement. Okay, so when you execute the statement in this case, we actually not execute, we actually do query. So it's going to be db.query, then the statement, And in this case, what we get back is going to be rows. So here just get back the rows and the error, and then we check for the error. And then down here we can actually map through the rows. So you can just say for rows dot next. Okay, for rows dot next, we can just now go ahead. Okay, so here we are creating a new, so this is going to be like this, because here we are creating a new variable, rows. So we're just going to map through rows, and in here we can just say var contact of type contact, and then after this we can go ahead and say rows dot scan. And here how the scan works, we can populate, okay, this contact here using the scan. And the scan, it works by passing in and so you just need to say contact dot, I think, contact dot id, then contact dot name, contact dot email, and contact dot phone. Okay, so we scan, and I think we pass in the addresses. Let me just see this. Okay, so I just need to go ahead and add okay. Then after this, we can just get the contacts, which is going to equal to append contacts, and we are appending a contact. So basically what we are doing is we created an empty contacts array, and then here when we map through the rows, here we are checking if these rows dot next, they are there, like we have the rows, and then here we have rows dot scan. So yesterday map through them, and then we go ahead and populate this create a contact, and then we add it in the empty array as we're populating this. Then outside here we set the header, we write the status. So this one is going to be status status okay, which is going to be 200, and here we just encode the contacts like this. Okay, so we can just now go ahead and call this in the main. Just going to do this. It is on the contacts, and then from the controllers we just going to say get, and then even this is get. So let's go ahead and see if we can get these. So if we just go to the postman, and then let's create another, I can just go ahead and change this to get, and let's hit this one. So you can see this is actually returning an array, is returning an array of these. So we just need to go ahead and fetch this in our application. So let's go ahead to our front end, and I just need to go ahead and fetch this. So we could fetch from here if you're using React query, which I don't want right now to go ahead and set up. Instead, I'm just going to go ahead and pass in these. Here actually we don't have, here we start with an empty array, so I'm just going to pass in these as contacts. So I'm just going to say here, we're just going to have contacts entering in here. Since this is, I'm just going to say contacts. We can just say even these ones as the, let's say data. And this data is going to be of type contact array, just like this. And this data is going to actually come here. And by default, you can give it empty array like this. So when you're going to call contact app, you said now this one asks you to pass in data. So let's just have a function here that fetches. So a function get data, and this is going to be an async function. Okay, it can just like do a try catch. Here I'm just going to simply return an empty array, but otherwise I just want to do response is equal to await let's say response is equal to await fetch. Actually, we can just go in the contact app and we use this very the very thing. I'm just going to copy this. We just say fetch, and let's say const. I'm just going to say const base okay. And then here we fetch the contacts, then we get the results. Const result is await res.json and return results. And now we can just come here and we await it. So we can say const data is await get get data. Let's make also this an async, and let's pass this data. At this point, we should be able to have our data. Then for this, we can add a loader, or we can just add a suspense. So if you have something like this, they say that you need to wrap something which is fetching data. So if I have something like this, okay, and this is what is fetching data, then this I call this one as let's call this as what? We can just call this fetching data component. Okay, we call this, and then we will have the one the page. This one can't be default. We have the default async default function, and this just say this is going to be page. And what we do is we now wrap suspense. Okay, and then we now call this fetching this component here. Let's import suspense, and let's pass in the fallback. So in the fallback, we can also add a simple function, and this can return a p tag saying loading, and then you can just come here in the fallback I'm just going to do it like this. So this should just like be make sure inside here you are showing the actual like that. So we have all our data, so you can see the suspense is there, and you can add, let's add more. Just going to say error. I'm just going to go ahead and add this. So since we have to refresh to add this, and you can see this is persisting. In that case, I don't know if you are supposed to revalidate, but the best way would be you use a React query for that, and you can see this view works right now. So I'm just going to give you a task. I can give you a task to go ahead and implement the update and delete. I did the create and view, so you can just go ahead and do the edit. You already have the form and also the delete. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.